Carrie. How is everyone doing? How is One Book July treating everyone? I hope you're all well. I wanted to talk a little bit today about, I don't know if this is the right word for it, but what I, in my brain, call planning mechanics. It's like the way everything works together here is a system, and kind of the pieces that make it work and the ways in which it work in my head are the mechanics of it. Again, I'm outside. It's pretty warm, but it's pretty windy, and outside was the quietest place I was going to get today, so let's hope the wind isn't too bad. And thank you for all of you who've said, oh, I enjoy the sounds of, outside in the background. I really appreciate that. I like to record outside. So let's see, when I think about planning mechanics, I know that I always go back to a system, always. So my system needs to work the way that my brain works, and I know I go on about this importance of having a system all the time, but that's because it really is important if you want your planner to work for you instead of you working for it. So in my planner, there's the old adage, a place for everything and everything in its place, right? I have a place for everything and everything is in its place. Especially in a small planner, but this does apply to a large planner too. One of the ways to get the mechanics of your planner to work for you is to be creative with your page real estate, right? So someone asked me a really good question that kind of pertains to this, was why I went with the lined Moleskine for my yearly book. So it has a couple of the filtered yearly calendars, and then all of my months and all of my weeks, and then my projects. And I went with the lined versus the pre-printed because I needed to be creative with my page real estate. So during the semester, I have, here was a Monday, I needed 3 lines. Here was a Tuesday, I needed 2, 4, 6 lines. Here was a Wednesday, I needed 2, 4, 5 lines. 2, 4, 6 lines on Thursday. So fitting these varied schedules, how the schedule varies, especially during the semester, into the pre-printed weeks didn't work for me. Not setting this up in advance, I don't know why this was such an aha moment for me, but I usually would go through here, draw my lines in for each day, separate it all up evenly. And when I was setting this up, I thought, why do I have to do that? Why don't I just list out what I know the schedule is for each day? And then when I know I'm done for that day, and these weeks, I didn't even put a line underneath it. I didn't need it. If you look online, if you go onto Instagram or YouTube especially, people who set up bullet journals have the most creative use of space. And I know for my weekly gets a lot of mileage put on it. So being able to find videos and photos of the way that other people set up their weeks helped me be more creative with the space that I have. Another part of planning mechanics that makes things really, really work for me is sticky notes. Sticky notes are a quick way to get something in here, right? I can move it around. That is part of my challenge to myself this One Book July, is kind of tinkering with the way I do my projects. So I usually leave everything on sticky notes in the project section, but I have been, and I also usually write my quarterly goals in every month of the quarter and then just track progress on them. So instead, I list out the July projects on a sticky note instead, because then I can move it. I think what I might do, usually I list them on the page, but what was happening was I was getting a lot of monthly tasks and then not having a whole lot of space for projects, because I also like to have kind of a memory keeping page, what I watched, what I listened to, what I was reading, things like that. So having the projects on a sticky note is really nice. I can also, I don't do this, but you could also take that project sticky note and stick it right into your weeklies. So if you wanted to keep a list of the monthly projects in your weeklies, you could just move this around knowing it's the projects for that month. I also moved my quarterly goals to sticky notes instead of writing it down, because this way I can just move this whole sticky note to the next month and I don't have to rewrite everything. The sticky notes thing kind of falls into the idea of quick curation too. When you need to jot something down quickly, if something important pops in your head, if you have an appointment that you have to schedule, you get an idea that's really great and you don't want to lose it. If your natural instinct is to grab your planner and jot it down, where is it your natural instinct to put it? If you're not sure, or if you find yourself having, say, a really great idea and you grab your planner and then you kind of stall out, where do I write that? A sticky note is great for that, because you can always move it around. As long as you don't put it someplace you won't forget it, you can always move it around. I know for me, As far as curation goes, if it's something that I'm going to need pretty short term, if it's a short term thing or a small project, I'll just put it on a sticky note, or I'll use up a page or two in my dailies and use up whatever space I need in here. And then I just continue with my dailies when I'm done with that. So yeah, that's what I did here. I put notes for an exam in here, and then I kept right on going with my dailies. If I'm putting it on a sticky note and I know that it's something I need to remember, I really generally will not put that sticky note in my dailies. I put it in the place that I know my brain automatically gravitates toward as far as remembering things, and that is my weekly. That's part of why my weekly gets so much mileage on it. So if something comes up and it's important, I don't want to forget this idea or whatever, put it on a sticky note, slap it over here, because I'm going to be looking at this. It's the schedule. So pay attention to where you naturally gravitate in your planner to put important things. Pay attention to your gut instinct as far as the first thing you turn toward in your planner to catch something important, and then try to make that space wherever it is your brain naturally goes anyway, make that space work for you. And if that means sticky notes, so you're not committing something to the page, if you don't like whiting things out or whatever, then that's fine. Use up sticky notes. That's nothing wrong with that at all. I use sticky notes a lot for my projects, and that's part of, you know, my challenge this month is I'm in a small book. That's a nice thing about sticky notes, is in a small book I can really maximize my page real estate, and I can still move things around. As far as mechanics go, another thing is printables. We are so lucky that we have access to so many printable inserts. If you want to play with, you know, printable inserts like crazy, Filofaxy has a ton of free printable inserts. A lot of shops have free inserts you can try, or, you know, use them, you know, purchase inserts and use them. Don't be afraid to tip something in or glue something in if it'll save you time or save you space. This, for example, is the hockey schedule for 2022. This saves me space and it saves me time when I need to find something, when I need to see if there's a home game or an away game or whatever, or a trip coming up, and I didn't have to use up any page real estate for it. It's tipped in. Same with my monthlies. Like I've said to you all before, I don't mind drawing my monthlies in at all for about 3 months. And once I've done about 3 months worth, I'm really kind of over it. So tipping something in or gluing something in, yeah, look at, I wondered if this book was going to last me the year. That's why I said this was an experiment. So we're going to hope. You know, tipping something in or gluing something in to save yourself the time is smart. It's a smart use of your space, and it's a smart way to have like that filtered calendar. Another place that I do it is with really like multi-part projects or long-term projects. This is a tip in from Peanuts Planner Co. I tipped this in. Okay, so I have this is home projects, right? So here is the tip in. I have all of, you know, each room, stuff I want to do in each room, right? Space for more. But then that also leaves me this spread that I can either use for other things, or what I like to do is, this is my home section. So then I have all of this stuff. It's tipped in. I can move it to another book if I need to. Hopefully I won't have to. Hopefully this front book will last me for the year. That was its purpose. But that leaves me these 2 pages still in the spread completely open for the smaller projects. If there are projects in here that I need to break down a little bit, then I can do that on a sticky note over here. It still applies to the home section. So tipping this in saves me this whole spread as well. Let's see, I'm flipping through notes. So basically a spread can be dedicated to that topic, right? And I like that. That's a good use of your space, especially if you're in a small book, but not necessarily only if you're in a small book. Another way that I kind of tweaked with this setup to make the mechanics work for me is in this second book in my dailies. This is kind of dailies, notes, journaling, things like that. So what I did in here was I will pre-decorate ahead whatever I feel like doing at the time. So I will pre-decorate pages. They're ready to go. Lately I've been using the free monthly printables from Never Paperland. There is a link in their bio for those. Otherwise I just write the same basic thing at the top, but I couldn't pass up this font. Always gets me. And they're beautiful printables. So I will pre-decorate my pages up until I don't feel like decorating anymore. And then if I feel the need to journal, if I need to make some notes about something, a couple years ago this really would have bothered me, but I just go to my first non-decorated page and I just start writing. And if that takes up, say, 2 spreads, then when I go through with my dailies, I'm outside, if I get through all my decorated pages and I need more decorated pages for my dailies, I just start again right where I left off, kind of like you would in a bullet journal. That previously would have really bothered me. Knowing that I kind of need to do it to have this book set up the way I want to made it a lot easier for my brain to accept the fact that I'm going to have notes scattered in with my dailies. And I kind of like that because they're kind of in context as far as when you took those notes. You can always date it, don't get me wrong, but I like that I can see, okay, here's everything in here, you know, from April. Everything is in here. Any notes, any, you know, schedules, notes for classes, any journaling, there's all of April, right? And I like that it's all together. So maybe trying something that you think you might not like, but at least trying it out, you might surprise yourself. This definitely surprised me, and I've been planning for a really long time, you all. This should not be as big of a surprise as it was, but knowing that I want this system set up in this format. Right now, this is the best format for me. So having my pages interspersed, different types of pages interspersed, doesn't bother me because I know that right now this is the way this system is going to work best for me. Let's see, what else? And that also kind of plays into, you know, abbreviating when necessary, but not worrying about taking up the space that I need when I need it, which also kind of plays into the sticky notes thing. I can be a little more liberal with my space because if I'm putting it on a sticky note anyway, I can move it, I can rewrite it, I can do whatever. Another big thing, big, this is key for my system working for me as far as the mechanics go, is section linking. So information flows from one section to the next and back again. And that's why I said in my previous video that my biggest planner need is the seamless flow of information. So projects and all of their steps go in the project section. Okay, and this is my index for my project section, and then I've been kind of using this side as the landing page. Like right now I'm doing this video, right? So all of the projects that are in here, all of the steps for those projects are listed with them. Okay, so there's like the dorm list, there's all the home list, there's a list of videos in there I want to do. So there's all, you know, lists, notes, things like that. When I'm doing my weekly, what I will do is I know, say this week, that I need to work on this project and this project. Okay, so these are 3 projects I'm working on this week. I can either take that sticky note from that landing page because it is this video and I can stick it right here, or I can leave it there because I know it's there and all I have listed on my weekly is the name of the project. Okay, so when I go to my daily the night before, I look at my weekly and I go, okay, here's the schedule for the day. So I need to leave at a certain time to drop him off. I need to go do this, that, and the other. I need to leave at a certain time to pick him up. And then I have to make sure I'm home by whatever time because this one has to go to work. And I know I'm going to be home for a while in the afternoon. So let's look at what I can get done. Oh, that project. I then go to that project and pick the tasks out of that project that I want to do and put them on the daily. So projects and all of their steps go in the project section, whether it's on a sticky note or written right on the page. The project gets listed on the weekly, just the title, not any specific steps at all. And the specific tasks for that project go on the day that I think I'm going to do them. So there I've linked 3 separate sections of my planner. This also ties into using your page real estate and your time wisely. I don't have to list every single step of a project in my weekly, right? I just need the project itself listed, like its title or its name, so that I remember to make some headway on it during the week. And then when I'm setting up my day the night before, I look at the weekly, I see that project name listed, I go to my projects page, or my project section, I should say, pull any tasks that I want to finish from whatever project it is, and put them on my daily. And that also keeps my mental clutter at a minimum, right? I put my mental energy and my time into the project steps, into doing them, the steps that are on the daily. And the rest is in the project section. All the other steps that might go with that project, I don't have to worry about them on the daily. That's part of why I like having a monthly, a weekly, and a daily, because when I'm looking on that daily page, None of this other stuff is in my face. I don't see the other stuff from the tracker. I don't see, oh yeah, that's coming up at the end of the week. You know, I need to remember to do that. When I'm looking at my daily, all I see is my daily. That's it. I'm focused solely on what I need to get done in the present time, right? Another thing about mechanics is when you have a lot of timed stuff during the day, I have always gravitated toward a timeline, right? That's always been, I think it's from being in Franklin Covey planners for so long. Oh man, I was in Franklin Covey forever. Whew, I love Franklin Covey. So I got used to having that timeline on the left side, right? And again, I wanted to be in bound books. I wanted to be in a small format. And I realized that part of the reason I started having issues with the timeline was because I have a lot of things that don't happen on the hour or on the half hour. I have a lot of quarter after, I have a lot of 20 till, I have a lot of quarter till. Yeah, there's a lot of those in our days. So it made sense for me, real estate wise, and just for my brain to decrease the mental clutter, to just list them out at the exact time I need to leave chronologically for the day. It's basically just a list is all it is. But I don't know why that, again, felt like such an aha moment to me that I don't need it. I was just so conditioned that I needed a timeline. And these half hour, you know, the quarter hour, 20 till, quarter past, quarter till, those, they don't always fit well in a timeline like that. Now I will admit I am missing a timeline. Watching I will link their channel down below. The way that they use their daily pocket Moleskine really has me missing a timeline. So I may tweak with that yet again, or tweak that in here as the month goes on. The thing is, right now we are not very appointment heavy, and next week is going to be even lighter. So I don't necessarily need to take up all the space on the side to have a timeline. Okay, so I think for now, at least, that is it. Only because I did talk about yearlies that act like a filter in my last video. I have 2 yearly tip-ins. One is the travel schedule and one is for finances for the year, because I like to see those things outside of all of this business, right? So again, that's using tip-ins wisely. That's using my page real estate wisely. So I think that's it for today, you all. I hope One Book July is treating you all. I hope you were able to come away from this with something useful. I'm feeling really scattered today, and I feel like that really shows. So I truly apologize if it does show. And I think the next video, what are we gonna do for the next video? Maybe we'll do more on projects the next video. So I hope One Book July is treating you well. I hope you are all doing well, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me. Bye-bye.